Hello everybody, ChaosKatGaming here. And today working on getting the car up to the point that you will be able to easily survive getting into the deep zone. And not doing what I did on the upcoming video, right, of how to let you be able to easily survive getting into the deep zone. And not having an experience like I did on the next episode that's coming up. For the sake of disclaimer, what I did, you can probably survive getting into the deep zone if your car happens to look like this. Just know that when you get back, your car is going to be made primarily out of crude parts by the time you come out if your car happens to look like this. So with this, at least in my case, first off, I need to go ahead and get off the bad broken stuff. Ow. One thing that is nice is that once you do get into the deep zone, the friendly dumpster will start providing you with armored panels. So, once you do get into it and get back, you'll be able to get rebuilt easier. With that, you definitely want to have your car be fully covered in armor plating, in the armored plating. To breathe into the mid zone, into the deep zone, because you're going to be facing off deep zone anomalies while trying to get into it, and most of the anomalies in the deep zone are actually a lot nicer to an extent, in that everything except for one anomaly, I think, is impact or explosion damage. To help out with doing the big major teardown of your car, if you have the extra large roof storage, you can actually take that and use that as a giant transfer trunk, and you can use this as an inventory to carry a whole bunch of the stuff down at once. So now that your car is all naked, go ahead and give it a full body coating of solid armor. You don't technically have to, but it is what I would most strongly recommend. Plus, if you play anything like me, I've ended up with more than enough thermosap crystals from the scorched biomes to be able to easily do that. So, once you get the body of your car all taken care of, you want to go ahead and get it a nice engine. If you haven't been doing it already, I would highly recommend getting the turbo light engine. Or if you happen to really want it, just get some engine that's better than the carbureted. Personally, I like using the turbo light because I don't want to have to deal with I don't want the battery to be an even more constant issue than it already is anyways. So I would advise the turbo light. It's like, yes, that might have more horsepower, but generally it's a lot more tedious trying to keep hold, like at least for me, to keep hold of a decent amount of power without turning my entire car into running power. So I'd say get this one. Plus, I can't get that one anyways, because so much fucking coal. So I'd say I'd advise get the turbo light engine. But at minimum, I'd advise to get an engine that's better than the default. Alright, now we got the hood taken care. We got the engine taken care of. Let's get the headlights, cause it's kind of ugly looking at, but just bare. So I would advise you have one bio headlight and then a insulated headlight. Not because you need it for the electrical issue, but because it just has more health than the regular headlight. You won't be able to make the reinforced headlight or even resource the reinforced headlight until after you've gotten into the deep zone, so don't worry about that. The reason I say only have one of them on the car is that the single headlight is so bright that you really don't need two of them. Actually, one thing that I would recommend you do is having a backup of the bio headlight, which thankfully we have this that has a slot perfectly sized for that. Next up, bumpers. Alright, first off, one of the big mistakes that I made that would probably quite significantly save my ass, or at least my car, is that Offie gives you the blueprint for the limb shield. While you don't have to use it, because I managed to do it without it, I suspect it would have been a much nicer experience with it. So you absolutely want to make sure that one of your bumpers is the limb shield. How the limb shield works is that, think of it like a always active limb pulse emitter, where instead of you using the 2 kilowatts to activate it and it'll dump everything that's attached to you off, the limb pulse emitter you use 0.25 kilowatts to activate it, and it'll just stay on for no additional drain. It protects against any physical anomaly effects. So nothing can grab onto you except the pickpocket. Nothing defends you against the pickpocket. For the front bumper, just go ahead and get the armored bumper. Next up, I kind of want to get the car up off the ground, so let's get the tires going. While you are actively breaking through to the deep zone, you will want the puncture-proof tires, but you will want to swap it out for, I'd say, the all-terrain. The off-road will run into more problems while you're in the deep zone versus the all-terrain, almost as if the game is wanting you to advance the tier 3 tires. If you happen to have enough to be able to get the augmented trunk storage, I would say go ahead and get that done now, and it gives you like that much extra storage. Now then, the only downside with the limb shield is that, from a quote that Oppie actually said in the thing, is that like your survivability is going to highly depend on your power. So with that, you're going to want a ton of power. So I would highly recommend that you go ahead and get at least one of each of the generators. So, solar, hydro, the mini turbine. With getting one of each of these with the mini turbine, I know that a lot of people probably don't like them. However, it does generate you power while you are driving. It will start to generate you power at over 40 miles an hour, which with the improved engine is quite simple to get. Along with that, I would say get the high capacity battery for on the seat rack. Get a second of the battery and get up to the 150 mark. However, with that, since you now don't have the capacity to have the big back seat tank, which would get you 50 fuel, I would advise you go ahead and make a fuel synthesizer. And what the fuel synthesizer does is it's almost like a refillable gas tank. You can use your gas can and siphon gas out of here, and this will use up your energy to gradually produce fuel, which you then have to periodically come and get it. However, a thing to note is that if you're like me and you like playing with the equipped part swapping, you need to make sure that that's turned off when you use this, because otherwise instead of siphoning the gas out of it, you'll just end up taking it off when you try to use the gas can with it. Once it becomes full, you can just toss it into your storage and it'll keep its fuel, so it's almost like a refillable jerry can. Guess the resource radar again. Because without radiation, that's not terribly useful. I mean, one thing you could do with this is that, especially while you have the XLR's roof storage, is that what you can actually do is you can store that. You can store the other roof items inside of it, so you can swap out that one in front. So that's less of a worry about a choice. So you can swap that out. So when you're about to collapse a zone, you can swap the resource raider away, and swap it out for the ion shield, which defends the car, which produces like a dome around the car to defend you from radiation. So yeah, so the last part to put onto the car will be the side fuel tank, just to help ease the burden of dealing with fuel. So now that you have all of that taken care of, let's go over here. And normally I'd say bring a bunch of the sealing kits, but with the airless tires, with the puncture-proof tires, you don't have to worry about those. Just bring a stack of everything. So yeah, bring 2 stacks of the battery jumpers with you, assuming you can afford it. And 1 plasma charger. Yeah, so it can be used for 20 seconds, giving it 24 kilowatts of energy. It's the matter of blowtorch versus repair putty. So this will give you a single large chunk of energy. This will let you top off. One thing you want to make sure is that you bring a whole bunch of the first aid kits to heal you, because while you do have the arc dock, you want to avoid using it if possible, because the arc dock drains power for each percentage of health he's healing. And when you're trying to break into that deep zone, when you're already burning through power or just trying to defend your car, you don't want to have to worry about having to not be healed, because you need the power to defend the car. And I think that's everything. Make sure that you don't have any particularly dangerous, make sure you don't have any particularly bad quirks before you go off on the drive trying to do it. And that the zone, that when you go there, is in a good condition. And I think that's the car all prepped for surviving breaking into the deep zone. And largely one piece. If you enjoyed, go check out my other content, please. If you enjoyed, think about subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Bye.